Sweden is not what you think, and they are the living proof. Stop thinking of Sweden as a cold, distant and boring land. Stop, because you are completely wrong. Of course, there is frost and snow, but there is also unexpected warmth, breathtaking nature, and a culture so avant-garde that it makes the rest of Europe seem behind the times. But there is another reason. A reason that men in particular will understand, but which fascinates everyone. A reason that has to do with beauty, elegance, and that unique bearing that you only find here. I am talking about Swedish women, considered by many to be the most beautiful and fascinating in the entire continent. And on this journey, we will not only discover the land of the Vikings, lakes, and the Northern Lights, but we will take you right into the vibrant heart of their lives to understand the secret of their splendor and their success throughout the world. Get ready, because Sweden is about to show you a side you never imagined. The Secret Territory. Sweden is a Nordic giant, the fifth largest country in Europe, and its geography is a true novel. From the gentle hills of the south, like the Öresund near Malmö, to the snowy peaks of the Scandinavian Alps in the north, this nation is an anthem to diversity. The map is dominated by water and forests, with over $100,000 shimmering lakes and coniferous forests covering more than half of the territory. The natural borders are imposing. The Baltic Sea to the east, which forms the fascinating Stockholm archipelago, and Norway to the west along the mountains. But the real magic begins in Swedish Lapland, where the Arctic Circle provides the phenomenon of the midnight sun in summer and the electric dances of the Northern Lights in winter. It is in these primeval settings, among national parks like the majestic Sarek, that the wild soul of this land is forged, a crucial element for understanding the mentality and resilience of its people. Sweden's highest point is the Kebnekaise, an imposing mountain that dominates the Arctic landscape, offering extreme challenges to climbers and unparalleled views. This is a country where the environment is not just a backdrop, but an active protagonist that shapes architecture, diet, and even legislation. The vast wilderness areas are not a resource to be exploited without limit, but a treasure to be protected. And this spirit of conservation is reflected in the way Swedes interact with nature. From a hydrographic point of view, the massive presence of lakes such as Vänern and Vättern not only beautifies the landscape, but has historically been fundamental for the transport of goods and human settlement. These waters, often frozen in winter, were the highways of the past, connecting villages and cities in a way that the harsh forests could not. The Swedish coastline is jagged and very long, with thousands of islands and skerries forming unique archipelagos, such as Stockholm's and Gothenburg's, where summer life takes place, in close contact with the sea. The distinction between regions is clear: the agricultural and densely populated south, the industrial center and the capital, and the vast wild and almost uninhabited north, Nordland. This geographical and demographic disparity creates a fascinating internal contrast. An interesting detail is the heavy reliance on forests, Sweden's green gold, which not only provide timber, but are also a place of recreation and a symbol of national identity. Swedish law guarantees everyone the Allemansrätten, the right of public access, which allows anyone to walk, ski or camp in any natural area, even private ones, as long as the environment is not disturbed or damaged. This deep respect for nature is a distinctive trait. Culture, traditions, and the Nordic myth. Swedish culture is a perfect balance between modernity and ancient traditions. One of the pillars of daily life is Fika, which is much more than a coffee break. It is a social ritual, a sacred moment to slow down, drink coffee, and eat pastries like kanelbullar, cinnamon rolls, essential for social cohesion and psychosomatic well-being. Swedes, known for their reserve and respect for personal space, a meter distance at the bus stop is the norm, find their space to socialize in Fika. Another fundamental concept is Lagom, which means not too much, not too little, the right amount. It is an ethic that influences everything from minimalist design to social policies, creating a balanced and functional society. Sweden is also the homeland of the Sami, the only indigenous people in Europe, whose culture tied to reindeer herding survives and thrives in the far north. But it is in celebrations like Midsummer Festival, with dances around the flower pole and flower crowns, that the exhilarating energy of the Swedish people is released. Swedish design, with its trademark minimalism, functionality and light, is famous worldwide. Global brands like IKEA have brought this concept into millions of homes, but the aesthetic extends to architecture, fashion, and art. The use of light wood, clean lines, and an emphasis on natural light, a necessity in a country with long dark winters, define this style. Respect for the common good and high trust in institutions are other key elements of Swedish culture. This translates into a low corruption rate and administrative efficiency that many countries can only dream of. Swedish society is extremely secularized, but its Lutheran roots have bequeathed a strong ethical sense of individual and collective responsibility. Music is another point of pride, with Sweden being one of the largest exporters of pop music per capita in the world, a phenomenon that goes far beyond ABBA, including world-renowned producers and contemporary artists. Education is highly valued, and the widely state-funded educational system emphasizes creativity and critical thinking from an early age. Attention to sustainability and environmental issues is rooted in Swedish culture. It is not a trend, but an essential component of the way of life. Sweden has set ambitious environmental goals and is often at the forefront of green innovations. This culture of innovation and progress merges with respect for tradition, creating a dynamic and stimulating environment. It is a nation that looks to the future without forgetting its Nordic origins. History in every corner. The journey through Sweden is a dive into history, from Viking warriors to modern industrial power. Stockholm, built on 14 islands, is Europe's most elegant capital. Do not miss Gamla Stan, the old town, a labyrinth of cobblestone alleys and ochre-colored palaces that whisper medieval stories. Gothenburg on the west coast is the maritime heart of innovation, with its canals and vibrant atmosphere. And then there is Visby, on the island of Gotland, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with an almost intact medieval wall, which seems to have stopped in time. Every city, every castle like Malmö's, tells the story of Sweden's march from a warrior kingdom to a beacon of progress and design. Swedish history is marked by the Golden Age, the 1700s century, when the Swedish Empire dominated much of the Baltic Sea, under sovereigns like Gustavus Adolphus. This period of military greatness is visible in the fortifications and monuments scattered throughout the country. However, after the Great Northern War, Sweden embarked on a path of neutrality that led it to develop its famous social model. Relics of the Viking era are widespread, particularly the runic stones found in abundance in the Lapland region near Stockholm. These stones are true narratives etched in rock, telling of voyages, battles, and the identity of the clans. In Stockholm, the Vasa Museum houses an imposing 17th century warship, sunk on its maiden voyage and recovered in an almost perfect state of preservation, a unique testimony to naval history. Sweden's transition from an agrarian society to an industrial power was successfully managed, avoiding the violent social conflicts that characterized other European countries. This Swedish way was marked by strong dialogue between trade unions and employers, which led to the creation of the social model based on the welfare state, the folkhemmet, the people's home. This model is the true historical legacy that defines modern Sweden. Even the architecture reflects this path. From Gothic cathedrals like Uppsala's, to the red and white wooden houses in the countryside, to the functionalist and modern architecture of the urban centers. Sweden has known how to honor its past, making it accessible and an integral part of contemporary life. An example is the city of Kiruna, which is literally being moved due to the underlying iron mines, an engineering feat that shows the Swedish determination to balance economic development with conservation. Not just beauty, but power. And now, the great mystery, the keystone of our documentary, Swedish women. Their charm goes far beyond the genetics that gave the world iconic beauties. The true power of these women lies in a culture that celebrates independence, equality, and inner strength. Sweden is a global role model for gender equality, with policies that have created an environment where women excel in every field, from politics, where female presence is very high, to entrepreneurship and science. Their beauty is a combination of clean Nordic lines, a minimalist style, and above all, a self-awareness that shines through in every gesture. They possess an innate elegance, combined with a practicality and strength that comes from being raised in a country that sees them as equals. They are not just beautiful, they are powerful and accomplished women. The secret of their splendor is not a luxury product, but the result of a social system that has freed them from the chains of traditional expectations. Parental leave equally divided between parents and high-quality accessible daycare have allowed women to balance career and family without having to give up either. This economic and social independence translates into a confidence and ease that are aesthetically very attractive. Their style is the quintessential effortless chic. They favor functional clothing, high quality but not flashy, with a focus on natural fabrics and clean cuts. This minimalism is not just fashion, it is a philosophy that reflects Lagom and the ethic of avoiding excess. Personal care is meticulous but oriented towards health and well-being, often linked to an active outdoor lifestyle rather than artificial transformation. Physical appearance is valued, but it is intelligence and autonomy that are celebrated. These are women who have had full access to educational and professional opportunities, and this power is reflected in their bearing. It is no coincidence that Sweden has produced leading female figures in fields such as diplomacy, literature, like Selma Lagerlöf, and environmental activism. Another factor is the Nordic diet, rich in fish, whole grains, and berries, which contributes to a healthy and radiant appearance. But the most crucial element is gender equality, which has eliminated the need for a woman to have to depend on her image for success. They can be beautiful without having to constantly worry about it, and that freedom is, ultimately, the most fascinating thing of all. Details about daily life that make a difference. To fully understand Sweden and the charm of its inhabitants, it is crucial to delve into the details of everyday life. The public transport system, for example, is a model of efficiency and cleanliness, especially in Stockholm, where the subway is known as the world's longest art gallery because of its decorated stations. This demonstrates attention to quality of life even in common spaces. The culture of recycling and respect for the environment is so deeply rooted that it is easier and almost automatic to recycle than to throw away. Swedish cities are dotted with green spaces and parks, often used as gathering and training places, another factor that contributes to the physical well-being of the population. Even the food, despite being criticized in the past, has undergone a real revolution, with a renaissance of new Nordic cuisine that values local, simple, and fresh ingredients. Local markets offer high-quality products, and attention to food origin is growing. A curious and fascinating aspect is the way they face winter. Instead of hibernating, Swedes have developed ways to enjoy the cold seasons, from cross-country skiing to ice skating, and the use of the sauna, a true therapy for the body and mind. The concept of hygge, a Danish term, but the spirit is similar, manifests itself in making indoor environments warm, bright, and welcoming, compensating for the lack of external light. This love for the outdoors and the ability to adapt to extreme climatic conditions are elements that forge character and physical strength. Furthermore, openness to the world and linguistic fluidity are notable. Most Swedes speak excellent English, which significantly facilitates international interaction and commerce, but also the absorption of cultures and ideas from around the world, making the society dynamic and tolerant. This sense of trust and openness is an element that is immediately perceived and makes the travel experience in Sweden extremely pleasant and relaxed. The big question about Sweden. We have traveled through Sweden, admired its wild nature, discovered its unique traditions like Fika and Lagom, and understood how a society based on equality has forged people of unparalleled charm. We have seen how Viking history merges with modern design, and how social efficiency creates an exceptional living environment. We have explored the majesty of Lapland and the cultural ferment of Stockholm and Gothenburg, connecting every element to our central thesis. The Swedish charm is a product of the environment, culture, and above all, gender equality. The crucial question, the one that will keep you awake and help us understand how effective our journey has been, is the following. Will you agree with our thesis? Are Swedish women truly the most beautiful in Europe? A result not only of genetics, but of an entire culture? And most importantly, which other country, in your opinion, can compete with their discreet but disruptive charm, and why? The debate is open, and the answer is not obvious. Tell us your thoughts, because your opinions are the last fascinating part of this journey. If this journey into the breathtaking landscapes and avant-garde culture of Sweden has enthralled you and left you wanting to know more about Swedish design, history, or the social model Do not miss the opportunity to help our channel grow. Comment below by writing which city or country you are watching this documentary from and what you think of Swedish beauty and culture. We'd love to know if Lagom is a philosophy you would adopt too. Click on the like button. It's free and helps us a lot to spread our work. And a heartfelt thank you for your gesture. Finally, click on one of the recommended videos on the screen to discover another of our incredible adventures, perhaps one that explores the wildest north or the secrets of Scandinavian design, so you never stop learning new curiosities.